Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Device as a Service webinar. My name is Andy Brady, along with my peers, Chris and Alex here. We're going to talk a lot today about what CTS is doing to bring Device as a Service to the marketplace. So we're coming to you live today from Austin, Texas. Beautiful 105-degree temperature outside, but inside we're cool as a cucumber here with Device as a Service. So let's talk a little bit about who CTS is to begin with. So CTS, we've been in business for about 23 years, 24 years, again, based here in Austin, Texas. We've got facilities in Long Beach, also in India. But we've been doing business as an elite partner for Verizon for the better part of 13 years, working with Verizon for over 20 now. We have about 5,000 or so customers that are with us today. We've done thousands of installs, and we're really your one-stop shop for technology. We work, again, closely with Verizon, but there's a whole litany of different opportunities that we're going to talk about today. Alex is going to speak to a couple of those in particular later on in the presentation. But we're talking about Device as a Service, and really what we're trying to remove is the chaos associated with really procurement of technology, and all of the different places you need to go, whether it's trying to decide what technology to go with, going to procurement to get the payment for it, talking to leadership about where you go, who gets involved, how does a help desk manage, how you do day two support. It's chaotic, and we know it's chaotic. I've spent the better part of 23 of my years of my career dealing with chaos as well. And what we're here to do is to simplify that entire thing. We're going to take your organization, we'll do all the back end work along with our partner in Verizon, and we'll take that entire portfolio and make it simple to use. And what we're talking about today is how you guys can get involved with Device as a Service overall as a whole. So I'm sure there's a lot of questions that you may have. We have a chat open. We're going to answer questions as we go. I think Alex said he wanted to give some gift cards away for Starbucks or something like that, but we'll let him talk about that here in a moment. But we're going to open it up today and make sure that all of you guys are ready and willing to go here with Device as a Service. So Alex, let me throw it on over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Andy. So my pleasure to talk to everyone today. Alex Duncan, I run our network and mobility strategy here at CTS. Been in the wireless industry for over 25 years now, so I've seen a lot of the challenges that have been posed by bring your own device and some of the chaos that's been caused in the marketplace by that. Here with my good friend Chris, who is Mr. Device as a Service, and also apparently has figured out the fountain of youth as well. I don't know how your picture makes
we're all the same
so
age,
much older. But anyway, as Andy talked about earlier, I am going to try to make my job easier because my job is to inject Q&A into the conversation. But if you come up with the best questions that I can inject into the conversation, I've got a Starbucks gift card for you. So we'll figure out the logistics and how to get that to the four best questions that we get throughout the course of the webinar. But Chris, first I'll start. Why are companies looking at Device as a Service, and why are they looking to companies like CTS to help minimize some of the complexity that's involved around it?
I think companies have had a different strategy around this over the years. A lot of companies adopted a BYOD strategy or a stipend model because they didn't have the operational capacity even to handle mobile devices. And then I also think there's been a change and a shift in the industry from how do they actually procure them, and then the device lifecycle is becoming a big challenge for a lot of organizations. So if you factor in all of that, our goal is to remove all of those obstacles for organizations. A lot of internal audits around companies there's one cost to the device itself, but then there's how many people have to touch that device.
Right.
And to what Andy was alluding to, when you add up procurement, IT, logistics to and from your employees, help desk, break fix, insurance claims, asset management, the device refreshes every couple of years, you get a lot of man hours around that. And our goal is to remove and alleviate all that for an organization, to really just add simplicity and a device as a service model that is financially flexible. It is a cost benefit analysis, a nice TCO for an organization.
Yeah, I think I know one of the roadblocks that I see from a lot of customers when they're looking at taking on new projects and new things like moving to a new platform is the amount of man hours and effort that it takes to do that from an IT perspective. Can you talk a little bit about how that is addressed through our device as a service platform?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things is the understanding of how we actually integrate into an organization and how do we add these operational streamlines. One, this is all based in a portal. So, we have a ServiceNow app, but we have API integrations into whatever their sort of ticketing management system is. So that the way that they handle onboarding new employees. And there is a process that needs to be implemented into an organization to streamline all of these, to make it really easy. And when you're into that workflow of onboarding a new employee, what it looks like to the employee is I log in, I've just started with this organization. Maybe I get a phone, maybe I get a tablet, maybe I get a laptop, maybe I get all three. I log in, I can choose my device. So maybe I get the option between an iOS and an Android. Maybe I have the option between my PC or my MacBook. I can choose my own device. That one already improves the employee experience. The employee then has the option for things like co-payment. So if they want a higher end device than they're willing to provide, they can opt into co-payment for it. That creates this sort of what we call corporate liable, personally enabled environment. You get a really high employee experience. The only reason why we can offer that is because at any time when that employee leaves the organization, we can also provide the option for them to buy it. So you have employee co-payment and you have employee purchase. If that user, when he goes through his workflow of choosing which devices they want, we ship, stage, and kit it for them. It goes enrolled into their ABM or their Knox. Automatically into their Intune or their Jamf or whatever they're using for UEM. It is forward and backward logistics is all uncovered into their employees. So the employee choose their devices, get it shipped directly to them. And then if they have issues, we're automatically including help desk. You have phone, you have chat, you have email for support. If that user breaks their phone for any reason, it's unlimited device replacement. One click, he can upgrade his device or replace it. And you're talking about full life cycle, so that user's getting his device activated with the carrier, he's getting enrolled in the MDM, he's getting a case and a screen protector, he's got help desk support if anything happens to him, and he, as the individual, he or she sees only their device. But the admins have full control over everything that's going on in their environment. They see who has what device identification, everything. So you're getting full life cycle here, which is what no other really device as a service offering offers.
Yeah, no, I think the unlimited device replacement for sure. I know when we back in the day when I was at BlackBerry, we'd release new products, people would conveniently find ways to get upgrades that way. So having that device protection in there, I think is pretty key. Great. Can you talk a little bit about some of the other competing technologies or competing devices as service offerings that are out there today?
Most devices as service companies out there exist today. They generally do it with a lease-based mechanism. Leasing as a financial tool is really designed for large depreciating assets. I mean, people are familiar with it when you lease a car. It's really not designed for thousands of depreciating assets. So if anybody's ever signed on to a lease before, you have to constantly sign new agreements, add to a schedule. You have a limited deployment window. So let's say you need 1,000 devices today. You order them, you sign your lease agreement. Whether you've deployed them or not, in 30 to 60 days, you're going to start paying for them. So that's one problem. Two, you don't have the ability to move things in and out. So in our model, you can add devices at any time. You can have these things where you have employee co-payment, you can have employee purchase, so you can move them out. And then we offer something that really nobody else offers, which is even restocking. So you have that ability for them to, if you have to let go of 10 or 20% of your workforce, we'll take devices back for a small restocking fee where you're not obligated to pay for the full term. Any other financial arrangements, whether you get devices with a subsidy or a lease arrangement or any other financial methods, you're going to be obligated to pay for that equipment in its entirety, regardless of if you got that use out of it. And then because we offer that portal, there's not many of the device as a service offerings that are going to create, they're going to provide you asset management, lifecycle management, and automation tool to go into your backend systems. We're MDM agnostic, we're device agnostic, any phone, tablet, laptop, routers. We're going to be talking about other types of devices here later that people are rolling into this program. APIs and ServiceNow integrations, these types of integrations that are going to automate the backend for your systems. Can be paired with any data plan with the carriers. We're really agnostic there. And once again, it's full asset management, lifecycle management. And so we're going to try to create a long-term relationship with our customers. And this creates, procurement doesn't constantly have to get involved. IT doesn't constantly have to get involved. Operations is alleviating some of that workload for them. And so once again, it's significantly different than any other device or service offering because of all those because of the funding mechanism itself. It creates those
spinning up and spinning down divisions, especially nowadays, right? As companies are cutting and adding in different areas, I think that flexibility is really key. So you mentioned it's device agnostic. Does that mean I can bring any device and put it onto the platform?
Yeah, that's correct. We all of our pricing models are based off what type of device and what type of term, but we're agnostic, right? We're here to help you provide to your employees the types of devices that you need to provide them. And we even have, once again, one of the big unique differentiators is our ability to buy our way into your fleet. And so what that means is organizations often say, well, this is what I need to refresh over the next 6 months or 12 months. So this is what I need to work on right now. But a lot of times they're tied into other agreements that other plans that are their other devices are tied up on because they need devices every single year. And what we do is we generally want to provide you day zero support for your whole fleet. And what that means is you can provide us device identification numbers, and we'll cut you a buyout check for your whole organization's fleet to give you day zero support. Anything you're not using anymore, it can come back to us. Anything you're ready to upgrade, we're going to advance exchange that new equipment for you, and then box and shipping labels and stuff to send back the old equipment. And then anything you just got recently, you now keep, but you pay us a service fee. We support it. We've got help desk. If you break it, we replace it. And so then you're no longer just worried about what I need now or in this term. You're breaking free from all those other transaction procurement methods and giving this procurement method. This procurement method is available globally. We can offer this in 44 countries. So we're helping to create a procurement source for your global needs. It is, once again, device agnostic. And it offers so many employee benefits. So that's why I think a lot of customers are coming to us now, reversing their BYOD or stipend strategy, and moving to this. And we do it for very, very large organizations.
Yeah, the BYOD is kind of a mixed bag. It's got its pluses in that it reduces some of the costs, but then you've got security concerns, and there's also some hidden costs that come into it. So I think seeing the way that works here kind of brings the best of both worlds. It gives you the ability to charge back the device to the end user, but you still have all the corporate security and controls wrapped around it.
I also think you have this thing with employee turnovers. I mean, I think it is turnover and of organizations is really almost higher than it's ever been in modern careers. And so how many of your employees, when you sign onto a 3-year plan, do your employees even make it 3 years? And so offering employee purchase, restocking, reassigning devices and equipment this way, you have financial flexibility as an organization where you can provide a device, but you're not obligated to pay a 3-year term on a 6-month employee.
And you can keep the number.
And you can keep the phone number, right? That you're separating that equipment from the connectivity itself. And once again, creating a financial flexible model where your costs are controlled. In this model, it's per device, per month, everything's included. There's no gotchas. There's not a bunch of one-time fees. That is creating a very simplicity model for your billing and for your operations.
As I'm thinking about this, you're buying technological obsolescence too. So in a lot of cases, when you're getting new devices, you're always typically maybe buying last year's device just because of cost reasons. So because this is an OpEx model and not a CapEx, you can buy the latest and greatest technology in addition to what you're talking about, and then have those 3 years period of time to really grow into that device. So you're buying the latest and greatest device with an OpEx type of model, It's an incredible opportunity. I just thought I would add that in there as you move on to your next page.
And our goal is obviously recapitalizing you on your old equipment too. So this is where the strategy of the buying into your environment really comes into play. One, maybe equipment that you've purchased 3-4 years ago, to you, it really has no value. Most organizations are not really good at buying or transitioning that old environment. Our ability to buy into your fleet and then recapitalizing you on that equipment so you get cash back into your organization is super unique. And I will say that it creates that lifecycle management where we actually, as an organization, we actually give you carbon offsetting credits for all the devices we re-commerce on your behalf. So it rolls in your company's ESG metrics. But it also, most of the time, if you have payment like early termination fees or cancellations or lease payoffs, et cetera, we're paying you more, that plus some. So it's, once again, it's cash back in your organization. You're paying off any transaction fees that you might have left over. And then you have a very clean billing model starting from day one, and support for your whole fleet all in one transaction.
Yeah, and that's that. I mean, I think some of the costs that come into projects as well. Great question came in. I got my first coffee card here that I'm going to be giving out. Is device as a service for smartphones through CTS an appropriate option for one-time project-based deployments where device needs are temporary and the project duration is shorter than a traditional wireless contract term, potentially creating early termination fee exposure?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it is not designed for large fleet of short-term rentals, right? Because there's a financial model that just doesn't make sense. Nobody really wants to do that, right? But there are percentages of workforces that do. I mean, we've done deals where the company might have interns that come in, or short-term contractors where they need some sort of, not necessarily temporary, but the life cycle is not guaranteed. Right. And so we can generally work within the confines of that model. It's just not explicitly that model.
And the terms, I think the length of time and the terms and everything is also going to go into your monthly cost. So there's different ways that we can work that model out. And a yes and no answer always means it depends. Right?
Yeah,
it's always pieces that come into play.
What I think is important to highlight is that it's flexible. This program is very flexible around what, where, when, and how around the devices. What's super interesting is in this model, you have things that you can do that nobody else can really do. Once again, that restocking capability, but we even have early upgrade. So let's say you're doing a 3-year, but after 12 months, you want to offer upgrades early to everybody because maybe it's a new AI chip that came out on the device that you want to be able to upgrade. For this, once again, for the small restocking fee, we could allow organizations to upgrade as early as 12 months. So you that financial flexibility, once again, nobody offers. You can't do it through device subsidy. You can't do it through lease arrangement.
I like the flexibility, but David Brunice asked a question, so we're going to give him a Starbucks card too, which is super easy to answer. And his question was, is it only mobile devices or can you do routers and FWA and all that kind of stuff? Talk about the intrinsic value of devices that we can put on this, because it's not limited just to phones. What else can we put on it?
Yeah, we've actually done quite a few router and operating deals right now. I think one of the reasons why there's so much value there is, one, all the services that we as CTS as an organization already offer, things like network monitoring and fleet-based support and engineering capabilities, site surveys, installation costs, all these things that go into these other parts of the business, lift rentals. We can roll all of that in so they still have a per month, per device cost. All the services can be rolled in. And then you also get planned lifecycle, which is a big people struggle that in the router market because their life of their routers go out of service, out of support, they're no longer supported. And then they're stuck in this thing where all of a sudden there's a big CapEx purchase of reinstalling, deinstalling, et cetera. And replacing that equipment, where in this you have a planned life cycle with network monitoring, with support, and the services all rolling in. And so it's absolutely for all types of mobile equipment, including routers.
I can think of one really good use case right now with 4G transitioning over to 5G spectrum, carrier shifts around that, right? There's going to be an equipment refresh that needs to happen. So how could this potentially be a use for that?
We have done a couple of deals recently where we actually routers traditionally don't have a lot of residual value, but because there's this big transition to 4G to 5G, a lot of times we're still able to offer organizations, one, a cash check back for equipment that they don't need or don't want anymore that they need to upgrade. So get some money back into your organization. Two, a clean transition model. You have an OpEx fee, it's included, we'll do the site survey, we'll do the install, we'll do the rip and replace for your equipment. And then one, that plan lifecycle rolls right into it. So I think you get that transition of the equipment that you need, a very defined price model that works for organizations.
Yeah, and I have a little bit of purview running the teams that do a lot of the installs and the project management, the life cycle of that whole project can be run through CTS. And our teams will start it from start to finish. So we can take a look at it from the technology standpoint, the project management, the implementation, coordinate real estate, the works to make it super simple for folks.
I think, a lot of times we think through the connected lens, but when you're looking at all devices, I mean, we'll do this for Honeywell, we'll do this for Zebra, we'll do this for scanners, we'll do this for routers. And organizations are often trying to simplify the number of vendors that they deal with. And if you can get your phones, your tablets, your laptops, your routers, your scanners, all from a singular vendor, all from a procurement source, and like that, I hate that the expression, but really one throat to choke. But to be able to have all of that under one
back to Pat.
That one back to Pat, I like that even better. To move all of that into a single procurement model and to give them a procurement model that they can offer in multiple countries. This is the organizations are looking for this sort of.
If I'm a Verizon employee and I want to push this, I mean, one thing I would be maybe concerned about is the support, the back end support. So how does that work? So obviously, we are a vehicle for Verizon. We are part of the overall infrastructure. But the back end support, talk to me about customer service. Is it 24/7, 365 on the back end? How does that work? If they need support on their equipment, how does that work?
Well, I'm going to answer part of this. I'm going to give it to Alex to answer part of it. I think on the front end, we generally have like our phone support is 24/7. We have email support and chat support that kind of look more like in the 8x5 model, but we want to be able to offer support to users exactly when they need it. And then because we're intricately tied to Verizon, we also have backend support right into the Verizon network. I think Alex can talk to that a little bit better than I can.
So I've got a team of engineers that are on call and have over 65 different levels of certifications of just about every piece of equipment that you can imagine. They have direct ties into Verizon support as well in order to get networking support if needed. But yeah, we've got a team ready to back up each one of the deployments that's ready to go. And 24/7 as well. So
I think the confidence that any Verizon seller has that this model can be backed by not only the incredible Verizon support team, but our support team as well.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, 24/7.
From start to finish on the project, right? That's, I think, the key differentiator from us is we follow it right from the start all the way through to deployment and management of the life cycle after the fact.
We assign project managers, we have engineering, we have architects. So especially when you're talking about FWA and installs, planning, preparing, managing techs and project management all the way through the execution and the follow-up. Yeah, that's something we do better than anybody.
But even with device management, we've got a team of experts that is familiar with Knox, familiar with Apple Business Manager, the works, right? So they can troubleshoot anything. And they've got the resources to be able to call upon when needed as well from the partners. I have a couple more questions that came in. This one's interesting because I can think of a couple of places where this would be a question for customers, but does DaaS offer both OpEx and CapEx options?
So I would say yes and no. Yes, us at CTS, obviously we sell equipment all day and we sell all of these services sort of a la carte.
Mm-hmm.
So if you needed a DaaS Lite, but you want to do the CapEx purchase, absolutely we can support you. We will sell you that equipment, we can sell you the support, we can sell you the shipping, the staging, the kitting, the asset tagging, the insurance programs or the device replacement or repair. Any one of these features and functions functions that we offer in this program, we can offer as a CapEx purchase. But the portal itself and this automation that we're demonstrating today is really just an OpEx only model. So yes and no it depends is the answer.
I think there's some times where you may want to, take things like just the installation piece of it, right? And I want to pay CapEx for all that, but I want my equipment all on an OpEx model, so that way I can easily upgrade or pass that on. So yeah, I think the answer is definitely a little bit of both, but for sure I can see just some areas where both would fit. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about what the portal looks like and what the employee perspective would be when they're actually going through this process?
Yeah, I have some views loaded up. I think it's important to understand what the admins see, and the users, obviously, they have the ability to, if passed down. I mean, some organizations, they keep this level at the admin level. But when we're talking about automation, if you pass it all the way down to the users can order their own devices, come directly to us for support. And so you can alleviate a lot of the tickets and admin work. This perspective that we're looking at right now is the administrative perspective. So you have some basic dashboards that load up into there. How many devices, what type of devices are in my fleet? You can obviously drill down into this. The dashboards can be customizable so that you have a full existing of what is, and we can bulk upload into this, whether you want to upload your employees, your Active Directory, your employees and the devices that you have, previous assets. We can load all that up into you. Contractually, we can upload all the types of devices that you want to run in here. You can put in your phones, you can put in your tablets, you can put in laptops. Notice we have some options in here where you can see things that are, once again, optional, but you could have employee co-payment in here, right? So, and you might offer different devices to different roles. Your blue collar workers might get a 17E, where your white collars might get a 17 Pro Max. Blue collar might refresh every 36 months. The white collar might refresh every 2 years. So you have that flexibility to offer based on role, what device, and what kind of support that they have via that portal. We do a lot of things in here for customers that they love, right? I mean, we can, generally speaking, all the cases and screen protectors in here, but a lot of our customers love branded logo cases that go with their devices. If you needed to office in a box setup where they're getting really like a briefcase and a phone and a laptop, all branded with your company logos, that's something that we can ship, stage, and kit for you and make it really nice. And once again, provide a really high employee experience. The admins on their own can go in here, or the users, but when an employee starts at an organization, they get their device. Obviously, they may have support issues. We do offer chat, we do have email, they do have phone support, but let's just say that employee is leaving the organization. One, they can log in and do this themselves, or an admin can do it, or it can be an automated workflow, but that employee is leaving the organization. And that point, you can do a couple of different things. You could reassign it to another employee that's starting. If you have somebody else you want to do that, and you want to continue the term that you're currently on. You could say that employee's leaving and cancel the rental, and then either have an employee purchase option or just a restocking fee and send that back. Or if it's at end of term, of course, you just send it back and there's no fee. You could replace that broken device with a brand new device at any time if it's within the term, of course. And then, of course, you could report that device lost or stolen. So you have a lot of options from both the user perspective and the administrative perspective to manage that device. When the employee is leaving, once again, this is where you can simply mark that device needs to come back, or, once again, the employee purchase option. Sometimes, if it's at end of term, like it's an old device that we helped buy back from you, you could just end it, send it back, and then ready to upgrade to the new equipment. I just showing you here that this all, once again, as a standard part of the bundle, we generally include cases and screen protectors because we're trying to protect those devices, of course, but a lot of customers need additional accessories. I mean, when you're talking about iPads, sometimes they want a magic keyboard, right? If you're talking about phones, now they don't come with charging blocks anymore. Maybe you just want to include a fast charging block. Sometimes with laptops, you need a backpack or a briefcase. So I think it's important to just bundle those things in, but all of this can be rolled into, once again, per device per month.
We had one customer that needed a laptop charging cart for their field service technicians that were all out in the bays. So we can be pretty flexible with that, I know, as far as the options. I had another question that came in here. It's an interesting one. Do you provide mobile service outside the United States, including Canada and other international locations? And if so, is international coverage included with smartphone service plans?
Yeah, to be clear, this is a hardware solution. Right? You would work with your carrier to get service, especially in a global solution in those countries. Now, we do have partners that we work with regularly that offer global SIM technology, multi-carrier SIM technology. So whether it's a backup SIM or a secondary SIM or just your primary travel SIM or whatever happens, we do have those partners that we work with regularly. But it depends on if you're talking about a traveling employee or an in-region employee, right? So generally speaking, you would have that connectivity partner relationship in the countries that you are.
But it would just plug into the overall DaaS.
It would plug into the overall model. And the model in this, it's a hardware solution, right? That we work with your connectivity to sending devices activated, et cetera. But it itself is not the connectivity.
Gotcha.
We'll talk about Starlink here in a bit, which we can do in those other countries, but a follow-up question. So if an employee sets up their profile online, goes through the process here, can they bring their family lines over as well, or would this only be available for employee devices?
Yeah, the correction would be, because these are corporate liable devices, this would only be for employees.
Right.
And of course, if they're doing family plans, that's talking about more the connectivity aspect, not actually the hardware. So the quick answer is really no.
Yeah, so it's like it always has been with Verizon. You'd have a family plan, a corporate plan for your work. So perfect. What's next?
I think that's it. Oh, one thing I just want to highlight that for everybody is that we do this for very, very large organizations.
Yeah.
We have it for over 500,000 devices, in, like I said, in up to 44 countries today. One just highlight experience I want to talk about is we do this for one automotive company. We bought from them 60,000 devices that they had. They recently had to upgrade all of them from the 16E to the 17E too. We have now deployed. We have an active fleet of over 95,000 devices. And their organization told us that we have so far saved them over 23,000 service tickets that they didn't have to service. We have very similar ones with a bunch of financial organizations. One company told us when we deployed about 10,000 devices for them, it took us about 6 weeks. They told us it would have taken them 6 months. And then they saved 20,000 service tickets, right? So I think what we're talking about is fleet modernization, saving you time and money, reducing the number of service tickets that you have by automating these workflows so where we execute for you, and that you still have full visibility into everything that's going on. So we do it once again for very large organizations, and we do it for a lot of medium-sized organizations too. I don't want to overemphasize very large, but I'm saying no size is too big,
right?
And so it's fleet agnostic too.
Yeah, and I think that's key, right? Most companies have also figured out what that average cost per ticket is. So there's a real ROI that you can attach to this.
You're over $2 million in cost savings right off the bat.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So I know the next question that we got in here actually feeds in pretty well into what I was going to talk about next, which is some really exciting news for us. We recently became the first authorized Starlink enterprise installer in North America. And basically what that means is we've been authorized by Starlink to go and do the installs. We can provide the install service to any reseller such as Verizon or other Starlink reseller partners that we work with. And all of the great things that we've done in the past with FWA now apply to Starlink as well. But in addition to that, we actually have the capability to pass through any rebates for the kits, the satellite kits to our customers as well, depending on the number of deployments. What became even more exciting recently is we got Starlink approval to be able to offer all of our services, so as a service, and so we can wrap up Starlink 5G with PeplLink or another router partner that the customer chooses do bonding, do the installation work, do the managed services afterwards, and bring it all to you starting for about $175 a month. Now, we have the ability to actually customize that setting. So if you wanted to add a high performance dish to it instead of just the Starlink Mini, right, we can do that, and we can put it onto an OpEx model or CapEx model. We can do it all on the Verizon bill as well, which is really, really key. And if you go to the next slide here, Chris, I'll talk about how flexible this program really is. We can actually take a platform like the SOCA, which is a self-optimizing cellular antenna. It means it spins all around and it finds the best directional signal to the cell towers in the area. We can pair that with a 5G router and a Starlink Mini high performance dish, whatever of your choosing. In this particular example, we're using a Teltonica router with a Starlink Mini, and we're using Bondex. We could put we can use really any technology. So we can use Cradlepoint, we can use PepLink. All of these different technology solutions that are based upon what your needs are as a customer. And we can put these all together and build them custom for you and put them all on your Verizon bill. So this is a great opportunity for Verizon customers to really go out and add resilience into their network. So if you think about any locations where you're using broadband today, this really can come right in and replace it with a much higher availability service, better quality of signal, more uptime, and more flexibility for you at a very comparable cost rate.
What I think when I first learned about this technology, one of the things that I found amazing is, one, you're adding the uptime of satellite, you're having the throughput of 5G, you can bond them together. And then if something even happens to either of the signals, you have the rotating and cellular antenna that will automatically pivot to the next. Us as an organization will be monitoring for you. We can remotely resend it to the backup signal. And not only you have the redundancy, but you have the throughput and you have them all bonded together. I mean, you're talking about a high throughput, multi-redundancy system, fully automated for a customer.
Bulletproof. It really is. And that's the piece that having done so many different FWA deployments in my career, this is the real missing link, right? The ability to provide that service at a low cost replacement, but without sacrificing the compromise of what you typically get through a dedicated circuit, right? Because you get the throughput, you get the latency piece, and you get the ability to.
You install this in your house, right?
I've got one that's installed right now. I have the Starlink piece. I'm doing separate because I want to put a performance dish on that.
So he not only works here, but he's also a customer. The great news is all of these things are available for any of our partners, any of our customers, whether it's us adding attenuation of signal, us doing a DaaS type of environment, us selling Starlink with our partners. All of these are available through CTS. It's not just a one-stop shop. We can do it really basically almost everything for you. This question on this, you mentioned the large automaker. I assume there's some white papers that we can share with the Verizon team.
Absolutely.
About how this works.
Yeah, we have a lot of case studies published, white papers, success stories across every type of vertical. So let us know what you need. We're happy to provide it.
And maybe we could post that somewhere online that they can have access to that. So we'll add that. That's a great question, Kara Joyner. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we've got a number of white papers. We've also done on bonding the solution as well. We've got a mobile Starlink solution as well that we offer with the StarBat. So there's a lot of really neat technology pieces that we put into play for this that we can make available to everybody. I think that's it. Do we have any more questions coming in from the Q&A? Because I think I've only given out 2 cards, right? So.
I think we're good. But I think the interesting thing for all of you out there, we are open for business. And certainly as we look at our distribution network that we've got built over, not only managing the Verizon team, but across the United States and across the globe, we're open for business for you. And that experience that I talked to on the front end really is showing up in spades here on the back end, where we've got our distribution network, where we've got a multitude of people running the mid markets. We've got a multitude of people running the enterprise side. We've got all the back end work. We've got our call centers over in India, and we've got all the 24/7, 365 tech support that you need. So we are a full stop shop for you, and one that is open for business. Can you put the contact information back up there
right now.
Okay, thank you. All right. So if you need us for anything, you can call any of us. My name's not up there, but abrady@ctsmobility.com. Send me a note. But we will certainly be able to help you there. A question for customers who've had custom device offers and custom plans that are part of that contract. How does this DaaS affect that?
Yeah, the question is, it depends on if they just want it for a go forward motion or they want us to execute for their whole environment. When we offer them the buy model, we can buy them out of all their current ETFs to help move them to this plan if that's something they desire, or it can just be on all devices moving forward. So we have multiple ways to engage with them based off what that is.
You know what's interesting about this, and one of the main reasons why I came to CTS, I left Verizon at the end of the year and chose to come to CTS was this model. And what this model does, when I think about the ARPU roughly stays the same. We're providing staging, kitting, deployment, ETF waivers, full product lifecycle, and the pricing for our customers stays the same. Oh, by the way, a case and screen protector on each one of them, and it stays roughly the same. It's an incredible offer. So we are buying these devices from Verizon. So Verizon stands to win whichever way we go on this one. The customers win, and the employees of Verizon win as well. So it's quite an interesting play here, and one that I think is a dynamic way of us running OpEx, an OpEx model that really shows up well for our Verizon constituents for certain. So Brian Drexler out of Chicago, Illinois, great job, great question.
Right, so that's three. We got room for one more. We got to get another question.
Okay. So look, at the end of the day, we're going to wrap up here, but I appreciate everyone coming on. You had a choice to spend your day with us today, and I appreciate you guys coming out to us. Again, for on behalf of Alex, Chris, and myself, we appreciate the work that you've done with us in the past. We really look forward to doing more business with you in the future. If you ever need me for anything, please reach out. For those that have my phone number, please just give me a call anytime. abrady@ctsmobility.com. We had all the information for these guys up. Danielle Geyer, as she said on there, will also be able to put it in the Slack channels as well. So thank you guys for everything you do. Have a great day. Happy August. Good selling month for all the sellers out there. A lot of days on the calendar and really no holidays. So have a great day, and we will look forward to talking to you soon. See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.